Welcome back to Learn SKN, and today we're looking at the May-June 2023 Economics Paper 2, and we're going to do question 1 today. So you know what to do: like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when Learn SKN drops the rest of this 5-question paper. And so let's just jump into it one time. Question asking us, define each of the following terms: labor and capital. And so we're looking at the factors of production. And we know there are 4 factors of production: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. And so they're asking us just to define labor and capital as a factor of production. And so labor can be defined as the human effort, whether it is physical or mental, that goes into the production process, or the human effort, whether physical or mental, that is used to turn inputs into outputs, however angle you want to take it. But the key thing is that it's the human effort, and it's physical or mental. It can be one or the other, or combination of the two. Key being it's physical or mental, so it doesn't have to be hands-on. It can be, like, for example, a teacher. That's labor, but that's using your mental effort to teach, so that's labor. And capital would be all of the resources that are man-made, that are used in the production process. All of the man-made resources that are used in the production process. So that could be money, that could be the house, the building, that could be the vehicle. All of those would be considered as capital, not just money alone, right? So it's all of the man-made goods that are used in the production process, that are used to make other products. So I specify man-made because land would be the natural resources that are used in production, but they ask for labor and capital. So that's question 1A. Question 1B. State 2 disadvantages of division of labor for employees. 2 disadvantages of division of labor for employees. Okay, one would be the fact that the job becomes boring. Right? It becomes boring because you're going to be doing the same thing over and over. And then, of course, we can also mention the fact that the persons engaged in division of labor, their skill variety is limited. The variety of skills becomes limited because they're only doing that particular task. But if you want to go more textbook, the textbook has them outlined here. Division of labor, that's chapter 7 in the textbook. Disadvantages: there is monotony of work, as each worker performs a small part of the operation. He has to repeat the same task all day. This leads to boredom and indifference, which means that because you're doing the same thing over and over and over, you get bored, and you kind of sometimes you tune out and you don't really care. You're just going working on autopilot all day. And of course, they said here, the workman ceases to be a craftsman, that is a skilled creator of a product. He is just a part of a production process. He could be described as a wage slave, someone employed in a mindless job for his living. And then division of labor makes the worker a specialist in a small task. The more specialized a worker, the more difficult it is for him to find a job if the firm is closing down. So that means that because he's going to focus on just one skill, the variety of skills that they can have is diminished. And so you only sticking to one particular skill. If you're to lose that job, then your skills would not be able to translate to a new area. So those are some of the disadvantages of division of labor. Moving on to part C. Bunch of definitions here. Okay, explain how, not definitions, but you have to explain these ones. Explain how a large chain of fast food restaurants might use each of the following economies of scale to its advantage. So economies of scale exists when a firm increases production, and as such they get certain advantages in terms of cost. The cost of production comes down as they expand their production. And so you can take this in a variety of ways, such as financial economies of scale, marketing economies of scale, technical economies of scale, managerial economies of scale. So picture this. You are a fast food restaurant, and so you have different chains, and so your production is increasing, your output is increasing. You're increasing your production overall. And so one advantage you'll gain, a financial advantage, is that you'll be able to get loans easier, because a bank would quicker trust a larger business with a loan than a smaller business. And so you see the financial economies of scale coming into play right there. you get great easier access to loans. Let's look at marketing now. You remember, it's a chain of fast food restaurants. So look at it like this. Look at franchises. Look at KFC, right? If one KFC makes an advertisement, then that could apply for all KFCs. But you only have to make that one ad. So similarly, the amount of money you're going to spend on advertising is spread more across all of your restaurants. And so on a unit basis, it is cheaper. So it becomes cheaper for you to market across larger, more established restaurants. So marketing effort for you becomes a lot cheaper. Also, the fact that you're larger now means that you can talk to suppliers a little differently. You can talk to them on a more, even basis. And you can buy in bulk and get discounts from persons you're doing business with. So you see how we can save based on marketing, discounts, and those kind of things. Technical economies of scale speaks to the fact that you can use the same technology using one, you can use in all. And because you're larger, you can get more specialized equipment made, and that would reduce the cost overall for you in the long run. So just imagine that all of you want to get a particular, let's say a fryer or something, a deep fryer. You can buy a lot of them, specifically for your organization, because now you're large enough for it to be even more makes more sense for you to buy it, a specialized one, than to buy one off the shelf, because now you're able to spread across that cost across all of your restaurants. And because you're big, you can even talk to the manufacturers on that level. Because imagine you want to make you're in a small restaurant and you want to go to the manufacturer to tell them, okay, could you design and build this for me? It's like the cost for them to do that would be so high because just for one little thing, as opposed to doing it for a chain of restaurants. And managerial economies of scale would speak to the fact that now that you're larger, you can attract more skilled workers, more knowledgeable workers, and you can even now specialize. You can even now have different expertise for different areas. For example, if you're a small restaurant, then the manager might have been the one who deals with production, marketing, accounting, everything, because it's small, payroll, everything. But as you grow, you can now hire an HR manager, a finance manager. So now all the work is now spread across the organization, and you get that more specialized skill so that you can be more efficient in all those areas. But don't take my word for it. In your textbook, they outline here in your textbook again: marketing economies of scale, financial economies of scale, managerial economies of scale. All of them are outlined here in your textbook, right? So you're able to follow and understand what they're saying here, right? Nothing different than what I outlined just now, right? So that's that one. Moving right along to part D. Now we have to do some calculations. So XYZ Limited is a small firm that makes bicycles. Use the information in the table below, which displays the quantities and some costs incurred by XYZ Limited to produce bicycles, and answer the questions that follows. Insert the answer on the table in the space labeled 1, 2, and 3. So I've already filled them in. So the first one asks, calculate the fixed cost when no bicycles are produced. So remember, on the paper, let me show you the original paper. This is what they gave us on the original paper, right? This is what they gave us right here on the original paper. Let me zoom so we can see better. Original paper they gave us here. We have to calculate the fixed cost when no bicycles are produced. So they're going to give us the total cost. They gave us $10 as the total cost. So we all know that total cost equals fixed cost plus variable cost. Your fixed cost is the cost you must pay whether you produce one item or none at all. You must pay your fixed cost. Like for example, if you're in a building that doesn't belong to you and you're paying rent, whether you produce 1 unit or 0 or 500 units, you must pay your rent still. It's not like the landlord gonna say, okay, you ain't produced nothing this month. Okay, man, you ain't gonna pay me the rent this month. You must pay the people in rent still. And so your fixed cost is always there. So it's a fixed cost plus the variable cost equal total cost. But they only give us total cost. So naturally there's no variable cost because you produce nothing, but you always have your fixed cost, which is $10. So that's the answer for that one. The second one is asking us to calculate the variable cost when one bicycle is produced. So based on what happened here, we already know fixed cost is $10. So if total cost is 14, it must mean then that the difference, the variable cost, would be 4. Because the 10 minus the 14 leaves back with 4. Because fixed cost plus variable cost equal total cost. You do the maths backwards, you have the 14, you take away the 10, the 4 you leave back with is the variable cost. And then the last one, calculate the total cost when 2 bicycles are produced. Again, we know fixed cost is 10, 10, 10. So we got that. Now they gave us variable cost, 7. So 10 plus 7 equals 17. And so total cost is 17. So let me fill it out for you right here. Alright, so we have 10, 4, and 17. And that is the answer for that question. Alright, so that's it for question number 1 on the 2023 Econ Paper 2. So we'll study it for now, and again, like, subscribe, hit the bell to get the rest of this paper. Thanks for watching.